When we think of Christmas, we usually picture a jolly old man in a red suit. But if we look into the shadows of the old world, the gift bringer isn't a man, and she definitely isn't jolly. She is ancient, she is powerful, and in many cultures she is a witch. Before Santa Claus ruled the skies, winter belonged to the matriarchs of the solstice. Why do some cultures wait for a witch on a broomstick instead of a sleigh? And who is the terrifying figure known as the Belly-Slitter, who punishes the lazy with surgical precision? Before we step into the darkness to find the answers, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Best of History and Mythology. Hit that like button and ring the bell so you never miss a journey into the past. To understand the story of the Christmas witch, we must first strip away the bright lights of modern commercialism and step back into the authentic darkness of the ancient world. Long before the concept of a jolly man in a red suit existed, the holiday season was defined by the Winter Solstice. This celestial event marked the longest night of the year, and it triggered a deep primal fear in our ancestors. In early agrarian societies, winter was not merely a festive season, it was a battle for survival. The sun had retreated and the earth was frozen hard. In this landscape of deep snow and howling winds, the people did not look to the sky for a sleigh. They looked to the shadows for spirits. The period known as the 12 Days of Christmas was originally believed to be a time out of time. It was a liminal space where the laws of nature were suspended, and the veil between the living and the dead became dangerously thin. During these 12 nights, the ordinary rules of society dissolved. This specific window of time is central to understanding why a witch figure became the bearer of gifts. In the folklore of the solstice, the entity that roams the night is not there to simply spread joy. She is an enforcer of social order. While the men of the village might have been out hunting or warring, the domain of the winter hearth belonged strictly to the female matriarch. This is why the spirit of winter is almost universally depicted as an old woman, the crone. She represents the wisdom of the final phase of life, just as December represents the final phase of the year. She is the keeper of the domestic arts and the judge of the household. In ancient times, the survival of a family through the winter depended entirely on how well they had prepared during the autumn. Had the wool been spun? Had the house been cleaned? Had the food been stored properly? The figure emerging from the solstice mist was the supernatural inspector of this preparation. She checked the spinning wheels and swept the hearths. Her presence was a test. If a family was industrious and respectful of the old ways, this winter spirit would bless them with abundance to ensure they survived until spring. If they were lazy or disrespectful, she brought misfortune. This transaction is the true origin of the naught or nice list. It was not about morality in the modern sense, but about contribution and survival. Therefore, the shadow of the solstice brings us a figure who is terrifying yet essential. She does not come from the North Pole, but from the spirit world itself. She carries the memory of ancestors who watched over the tribe during the darkest nights. She is the anthropomorphism of winter itself, cold and harsh to those who are unprepared, but capable of great generosity to those who respect the hearth. As we move across the map of Europe, we will see this shadowy matriarch take on many names and faces, but the core essence remains the same. She is the watcher in the winter dark. Our journey lands in the Italian peninsula, where the holiday season extends well beyond December. On the night of January 5th, Italian children hang stockings by the fireplace for a visitor who is decidedly not Santa Claus. This is La Befana, and her existence is a fascinating blend of domestic duty and eternal penance. While she shares the broomstick with other witches, her motivation is unique in world mythology because she is not hunting souls, but seeking redemption. The folklore recounts that the three wise men stopped at her humble cottage during their quest to find the infant Jesus. They invited the old woman to join their caravan, but she refused because she was too obsessed with her housekeeping duties. She stayed behind to sweep her floors. Hours later, regret consumed her. She gathered a sack of simple gifts and rushed out to catch the Magi, but the guiding star had already faded from the sky. She never found the manger. To this day, she flies through the night sky, visiting every house in a desperate hope that the child within might be the one she missed 2,000 years ago. She enters through the chimney, which leaves her covered in ash and soot. This physical grubbiness endears her to the populace because she looks like a hardworking grandmother rather than a queen. She leaves toys and candy for the good, but her signature calling card is a lump of coal for the naughty. In modern Italy, this has evolved into a rock-hard black sugar candy that looks exactly like anthracite. It serves as a sweet but firm reminder that while she is generous, she is always watching. She represents the intersection of the sacred and the profane, proving that even a witch can find a place within the holiest of holidays. La Befana's entire existence is driven by the regret of missing a single life-changing moment because she was too busy with daily chores. If you had the chance to go back and change one decision from your past that would alter your destiny, what would it be? Let me know in the comments below. As we ascend into the frozen peaks of the Alpine region, the folklore sheds its grandmotherly warmth and assumes a visceral intensity. Here we encounter a stark duality represented by two figures who act as both the judge and executioner of the domestic sphere. First, there is Frau Holle, who commands the weather itself. In the tales recorded by the Brothers Grimm, she is a subterranean entity connected to deep wells and mountain caves. When she shakes out her feather bed above the clouds, the downy feathers fall to earth as snow. Her magic binds the household to the elements. For the maiden who is diligent, Holle bestows a shower of gold that sticks to the skin, but for the lazy she rains down hot pitch or tar that can never be washed away. Yet the danger escalates with her darker sister Perchta. While Holle governs the snow, Perchta governs the gut. Known in Austrian tradition as the Belly-Slitter, she roams the countryside during the midwinter festival looking for hollow excuses. She inspects the spinning of the flax to ensure the quota is met, but she is most obsessed with dietary observance. Tradition dictates that households must eat a specific meal of fish and gruel on her feast day. If she finds a stomach full of rich food instead of the humble ritual meal, her punishment is immediate and surgical. Folklore claims she will cut open the abdomen of the offender, pull out the innards, and stuff the empty cavity with straw and pebbles before sewing it back up. This graphic imagery serves as a brutal reminder that in the harsh climate of the Alps, the difference between a golden reward and a violent end is merely a matter of discipline. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the dark folklore of the Alps, remember to support Best of History and Mythology. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on high-value content like this. If you think the Alpine punishments are severe, they pale in comparison to the terror waiting in the volcanic wastelands of Iceland. Here the holiday figure is Grýla, and she is not a human witch but a primal ogress. She dwells in the jagged lava fields and desolate mountains far from civilization. Unlike her southern counterparts who might leave a lump of coal, Grýla has an appetite that can only be sated by flesh. She possesses grotesque ears that hang down to her shoulders, allowing her to detect the whining of petulant children from miles away. When she descends from her cave, she carries a massive sack, not to dispense presents, but to capture the disobedient. She drags her screaming victims back to her lair to boil them alive in a cauldron for her festive stew. Living alongside this terrifying matriarch is her submissive husband, Lepaludi, and their 13 sons known as the Yule Lads. These figures bridge the gap between horror and holiday generosity. In the 13 nights leading up to Christmas, the lads descend from the mountains one by one. Each bears a descriptive name that hints at his favorite type of mischief, such as door slammer or sausage swiper or spoon licker. Icelandic children place their best shoes on the windowsill, hoping for a visit. If the child has been good, the lad leaves a small gift, but if they have been bad, they wake up to find a rotting potato. This tradition creates a unique dynamic where the threat of the mother ensures absolute obedience, while the sons provide the small mercies of the season. It is a family unit built on chaos, where the gift is merely a byproduct of surviving the long Arctic night. Grýla represents a brutal method of ensuring obedience through sheer terror. Do you think modern society has lost something by removing the element of fear from our holiday traditions? Or are we better off without these terrifying tales to keep children in line? I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. To solve the final riddle of why so many cultures entrust a witch with the task of gift-giving, we must dig beneath the layers of folklore and touch the bedrock of history. These figures are not nightmares conjured to scare children. They are displaced goddesses. Before the new monotheistic religions swept across Europe, the Winter Solstice was the sacred domain of the Earth Mother. Whether she was known as Frigg in the Germanic lands or the Kailash in the Celtic world, she was the supreme deity of abundance and weaving. When history was rewritten, these powerful female deities could not be completely erased from the collective memory, so they were demoted. The radiant goddess who spun the threads of fate was transformed into the haggard witch spinning wool in the corner. This process of demonization turned the sacred into the scary, but the symbols remain as clues for those who know where to look. Consider the broom. In the hands of the goddess, it was never a vehicle for flight. It was a ritual tool used for spiritual purification. The act of sweeping was a magical gesture intended to clear out the stagnant energy of the dying year to make room for the new. Even their terrifying appearance holds a secret meaning. The crooked nose and the withered skin of the crone are not signs of evil, but symbols of the dormant earth. She appears old because the year is old. She represents the soil that appears dead and frozen on the surface, but holds the spark of life deep within. This explains the nature of the gifts. Originally, these visitors did not bring manufactured toys. They brought oranges and nuts and dried fruits. These were not mere snacks. They were seeds of life and symbols of the sun. The orange represented the returning solar orb, while the nut held the potential for the forest to be reborn. So the Christmas witch is actually the most ancient ghost of all. She is Mother Nature herself, wearing a disguise to survive in a changing world. She comes to us in the dead of winter, not to threaten us, but to remind us that life will return. When she leaves a gift in a stocking or a shoe, it is a promise that the sun will rise again and the earth will once more be green. Winter is dark, but the ancient stories we tell are the fire that lights our way. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, and we will see you in our next video here on Best of History and Mythology.